Hi again, everybody. It's my pleasure now to introduce our manager for our Applied Research, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation Department, which is Glenn Laba. And Glenn's going to share with you a bit of an overview of what his department takes care of here at the college. And then I believe we've got some tours set up for those that are interested in walking through and seeing some of the technology that Glenn has available. So, Glenn, please.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. I hope you've enjoyed the session so far, and we have some very interesting and fun events when you're touring the Innovation Hub, and we'll get to that at the end of my presentation. As manager of the Applied Research, Innovation, Entrepreneurship here at Northern College, I want to, first of all, like you to understand that our research that we do here, in many ways, can be turned into some entrepreneurial activity. And I'll get to that in the latter part of my presentation. To show you what we currently have at our facilities, we're going to speak, first of all, to the strategic direction of Northern College, which is invigorating Northern experiences. Invigorating means, how can we make things better? How can we improve on the quality of life we have here in Northeast Ontario? When I was first hired or interviewed for my job, I learned that Northern College had committed to UN Sustainable Development Goals, which is personally very important to me. The more I've been on this planet, the more I've come to realize that we are more desperately in need to find solutions that address sustainability for Northeast Ontario as well as for the rest of our planet. And that's primarily what our foundation is all about. The foundation of my department are based upon these 6 SDGs. And I'm going to take you through a little bit of a story of what we've been doing here at the college and how these all come together. So first of all, zero hunger really is food sustainability. And coming from Southern Ontario, I take for granted how easy it is to get food. Now that I've been here for some 15, 16 months, I've come to realize that when we have a campus in Moosonee, and we're also going to be working closely with Indigenous communities along the James Bay coast. One of our labs right now has hydroponic growing systems. We're going to be training the Mushkegowuk Council in terms of learning how to grow food hydroponically because they don't have any fresh food up in their communities. And part of the challenge in growing fresh food in a remote community ties into number 7, where we have clean energy and cheap energy. So what ways can we achieve inexpensive energy in remote communities? That's another challenge that we're facing that typically you won't find in other parts of Southern Ontario or elsewhere in Canada. This all ties into number 3, which is good health, well-being. If you have fresh food, if you get people involved in growing their own food, it's going to help them. Not just physically, but there's a psychological impact to people growing their own food. Clean water, again, we've done some research in terms of the remote communities in Northeast Ontario, and there's a need to grow fresh food or have clean water to grow fresh food, as well as to drink the water itself. And this all leads to, what we have, number 9 is what I refer to as sustainable development. And finally, you have your greenhouse gases as number 13. This is the foundation of my department at Northern College, and these are the basic reasons of why we are trying to do research that is going to be meaningful for Northeast Ontario. And now let's talk innovation. You can't have sustainability unless you have innovation. We've had presentations today, all right, where people are thinking of innovation. You know, investors are always trying to find what is that differentiator. What is going to be something that's going to be new and better for whatever market that particular company is pursuing. innovation is the backbone for sustainability, and it's backbone for entrepreneurship. And continuing the S-curve, we want to get into continuous improvements. For companies to be completely competitive, you have to continually innovate. My grassroots, I was formerly a General Motors engineer. All right, I went to the University of Michigan. All right, and one of the frustrations I had after I graduated was that General Motors back in the 80s, all right, were complacent. I saw complacency in a large corporation. I still have a lot of respect for the company, but they were not embracing innovation the way I thought they could have, and some other companies beat them to the market in terms of EV vehicles, as an example. There was a study done by a consultant group out of Toronto post-COVID. When I first came here to the college, the president at the time, Audrey, she came to me and she said, Glenn, this report says that there's a golden opportunity for us to address environmental issues in Northeast Ontario. And so I was tasked with working with others here at the college, and at our Kirkland Lake campus, we have an environmental sciences program. Being the manager of innovation, entrepreneurship, and applied research at all campuses, all right, I've been working at putting together, basically we're setting up a state-of-the-art analytics lab for environmental sciences, which is going to be the base for us to do continued research related to environmental issues in Northeast Ontario. I've been sponsoring an environmental sciences student who is working with a professor, and we have been studying certain types of toxic compounds coming out of certain types of mines, and we have some pretty good ideas of what we may be able to do to address some of these environmental issues at some of the mines, and that's through a student project that I've been sponsoring. We're also working with some companies. We're exploring carbon sequestration. In particular, phytoremediation is an interesting natural approach to being able to clean certain parts of our environment. That's some other research we're undertaking right now. And I've also been working closely with Richard Callio at Kirkland Lake, who's developed a process that can treat and convert a certain type of waste product from sawmills. Could be used for another new product that they can put into the market for more revenue generation. Moving over to food sustainability, I've been working closely with Mark Rodrigue here in town. Over the years, I've been involved in many different types of hydroponics technologies. I was involved in one of Canada's very first hydroponics systems that was put into a shipping container back in 1987. So I had a history of I've worked with state-of-the-art hydroponic systems, and for me, when a Mushkegowuk Council comes to us and asks us, we need to grow food in our own communities. And I reach out to other communities in Northeast Ontario and have the same response. It's become very clear to me there's a desperate need to find other ways to grow food than other buying stuff that's coming from Mexico or California and shipping it up into these northern communities. They should be able to grow their own food. We're working closely with certain experts. We're going to be putting on training programs. One of our labs, we have, okay, so what we have, all right, before I forget, I almost forgot, we have a student, is Zane here? Zane, can you stand up? All right, and we also have our friends from Apasadaca. All right, we have a small little company that has got the potential to grow a lot of food hydroponically. And just to give an example, one of the things that people don't think about when they come to Northern College, we have a lot of business students, a lot of smart business students. Some of these business students have come from other places of learning and have got 4-year degrees. And I have the benefit of taking some of these students and giving them projects, helping small companies. And in this particular case, Zane is going to be working with a local company to do a feasibility study to look at what types of food can be grown in this facility, what kind of markets are within economical range of where you can sell your food, and do that study and come up with something that's going to be, it'll give you more opportunity to grow your business in a more meaningful way. In one of our new labs, this is a work in progress, we have what we call an alternative energy lab, which primarily to showcase renewable energies. I've turned it into an alternative energy living lab. We're going to be the only college in Ontario, maybe in Canada, that will have renewable energy. We're going to be artificially creating our own sunlight, charging the solar panels, taking that energy, putting it into an energy storage system, and then we're also going to have a wind turbine. We're going to have a wind tunnel where we're going to be developing our own wind turbines, and through that wind energy, we're also going to send that energy into an energy storage system. So we'll have solar and wind coming together into an energy storage system. That energy that's stored is then going to be fed into our growing systems. And the question I ask my students, I ask them, how much energy does it take to grow 1 pound of food? That's a question you wouldn't ask if you were in Southern Ontario. Because we're spoiled in Southern Ontario. We're spoiled in other parts of Canada. But when you're in Northern Ontario, when you're in a remote community where you're off-grid, all right, you are paying high prices for your energy. It's very costly to get energy to these remote communities. So if you want to grow food, or you want to do something, you want to, say to grow food, you want to be able to know how much energy is being required to grow that food. And you want to minimize that. And we've got a lot of opportunities to explore how to minimize energy required for growing systems. So this is going to be Ontario's first alternative energy living lab. So we also have some other state-of-the-art facilities I inherited when I came here a year ago. And so you're going to have the opportunity to go to our 3D printing lab and see some of the things we're doing there as well. There's going to be some fun events. I should mention that we have a scanner, a handheld scanner system. A lot of the students that come to our, high school students that come to our lab get scanned, and they think it's really cool. Anybody who wants to get scanned, we will scan you. All right? But
Scan for what?
with all these facilities, if you don't have the smarts to do it's all about know-how and trying to do something. Innovation comes from the mind. Innovation doesn't come from a building. I can have fancy buildings, but if I don't have the right smarts, some of my students that I've got, or some of my new hires that I've got here with me today, are bringing value to my labs. So the first one, all right, I've got Christian Smith. Christian, can you stand up for a sec? All right. Christian is actually a graduate from Northern College. He also has a kinesiology degree from McMaster. And so he's a very bright fella that's doing some phenomenal work for me right now. And you'll see something that says finite element analysis. It's a fancy way of saying we can do a lot of things with computer simulation and modeling and design in a very advanced way that can help a lot of local companies. One example is that a local company came to us and said, we want to reduce the weight of our product, make it as durable, if not more, longer lasting, have longer life expectancy. And so through certain advanced computational capabilities with FEA, and thanks to Christian and working with the company, we were able to come up with a way to reduce the weight of that particular product and make it last longer. And this is an example of how having the right smarts in our labs can go a long way for helping small companies or industry, any mining company that might be looking to improve their processes. I also have, and I think, Connor, are you still here? Is Connor still here? No, he's gone. All right, so I just had a chat with another little company here in town, and they're the HVAC systems. Is Babish here? Babish is another new hire of mine, and his expertise is thermodynamics. And one thing the Canadians are really lousy at, in fact, North Americans are, go to Europe, it's a whole different story. But we're not very smart using waste thermal energy. All right? We just throw energy away. All right, engines are only 30%, 28% energy efficient, and we throw all that heat from most engines, combustion engines, just goes anywhere. It isn't being used properly. We're also looking at geothermal systems. Thermal energy in northern communities, is there any way that we can find waste energy? We have a talc plant in town here. Every time I go into town, I look at the steam going up the chimney, thank you. And I'm asking myself, all that waste energy from that plant, why can't we be smart in using that? I had a chat with somebody, so you could be taking all that waste energy from that talc plant and put a building next door to it. You could have a hydroponic system right there based off that waste heat from that plant, as an example. So there's a lot of opportunities to use my new phone with his smarts. We're working closely with another company, you probably know, here in town, and we're looking at their greenhouses. And we're asking, how can we make their systems more energy efficient? And so there's FEA, there's also CFD, computational fluid dynamics. So now we can start looking at modeling buildings and systems to optimize thermodynamics and heating and ventilation systems. And then finally, I also have Kendra. Is Kendra here? All right, now I have someone who's pretty smart alternative energy. And there's a number of opportunities that I'm looking at right now for combined heat power microgrids. A lot of work has been done around microgrid systems, but not combined heat microgrid systems. And part of what I want to explore, especially for northern communities, we have some discussions going on right now with a company who's into power generation, and we're looking at microgrids that are going to be using waste heat from certain sources and using that waste heat to make the power generation that much more efficient. Waste heat, by the way, can be very effective for charging stations for EVs. We can get a lot smarter in terms of how we use our EVs if we know how to use waste thermal energy. So another area that we're expanding into is renewable energies. This is a planned microgrid I want to have on our campus. Basically, you can have your wind, your solar, you can have geothermal. I want to have some greenhouses on campus here. I'm going to be able to showcase on campus the ability to use renewable in a smart way, geothermal in a smart way, combine that all together, be able to grow food and do some district heating if possible, and demonstrate to remote communities how efficient you can be in being able to do this. And here's our 3D printing lab. We have one of Ontario's best equipped 3D printing labs. All right, so there's a University of Waterloo has a pretty good 3D printing lab, but I've been told by certain people who know 3D printing that we have one of the best labs, and you're welcome to have tours. And I'm also talking to some local companies on certain new initiatives around 3D printing. One of my students is doing a study right now. We have a 3BL printer, 3D printer. That printer does biocompatible material. So whether it's bones, whether it's teeth, there's certain things that we can 3D print, and they're doing this now globally. Basically, they're printing parts of the body, 3D printing parts of the body, and if it's handled properly in clean rooms, there's certain ways in which that 3D printed material can be used for repairing bones and whatever is broken in your body. Also, we have a brand new UR10 robot, machine vision. To me, autonomous systems is a no-brainer. Basically, I've set up in one of our labs, in the 3D printing lab right now, is a UR10 robot, and we want to get into more autonomous type systems, whether it's mining or other applications. Robots, again, can be used in many different ways. I'd love to have a robot. We're going to have a state-of-the-art hydroponics research center here, lab. I'm hoping to have it within the next year. I'd love to have robots in there. Machine vision systems. How about a machine vision system that can look at a plant and by changing the nutrients that feeds into the plant, you can actually look at the coloration changes in that plant and see the difference in the nutrient uptake by virtue of this new technology that we've invested in. So we're going to be able to actually look at, because when you go to when you go to a grocery store, I ask people, how much nutrients are in that head of lettuce that you're buying? Right now, we don't have no quantitative way of being able to measure how much nutrient is in any kind of food we're buying. But the system that I'm looking to have in one of our labs, I'm looking to have a way in which we're going to change the nutrients that we're feeding into our plants. We're going to be able to look at the plants using this technology. We're going to see the changes in the color, and we're going to hopefully correlate between the nutrients that we're feeding and the color, and be able to know how much nutrients is actually being taken up in those plants. This is some of the advanced research that I'm looking to have in hydroponics. And so what opportunities exist for us here at Northern College in terms of applied research and innovation, entrepreneurship, mining, forestry, healthcare, urban centers, indigenous communities. So basically my map for my department basically is, my foundation is our third strategic directive, invigorating northern experiences. The underlying drivers, again, are my SDGs that I talked about earlier. My functions of my department are as I showed them, and then finally the opportunities are there on top. So basically, that's my department. Very quickly for this event, I'm going to very quickly just go through. We are very interested in helping entrepreneurs. That's why I'm working very closely with Jeremy and you know, with TVC, with Link North, with Ross. They've been tremendous. I'm working very closely with them on a number of projects. But the one thing that people don't fully realize, probably one of the most valuable resources we have here at this college is our business students. We have a fairly large enrollment of business students. When I was at the University of Saskatchewan at Saskatoon a few years ago, I worked very closely with the business school. And as my job as a tech transfer manager was to find technologies at the university and see whether or not they could be commercialized. Filed 42 provisional patents over 3 years. We set up 7 startups, all based upon projects that I had with MBA students. Over those 3 years, I had some 23, 24 different projects with MBAs and undergrad business students to do feasibility studies, to do business plans, to do a number of different things that business students are very good at. And right now, I'm exploring opportunities to use business students for helping small companies. It's a resource, it's an untapped resource I think could be very valuable for any companies here in our region. And you know, again, it's all part of this. I don't want to get into the details. Just to take another 10 minutes to get into the whole ecosystem that I've been exploring up here. All right, and how our students can help support and be a part of that ecosystem. And here's some of the things that some of our students are able to do for companies. I'd be very interested to talk to anybody about, right now I have 12 resumes sitting on my desk. Students have come to me and says, if you got a project for me for the summer, you know, I'd like to know. So I have the ability to bring students in. I do have some funds to be able to sponsor these students. I can mentor them to a certain degree, work with the companies to do something along the lines of what you see there. And then also, now is German here? German is probably one of the most entrepreneurial students that I've come across since I've been here. And he's been working with me to set up, we've been setting up, developing a program of certain, I call them tutorials for the basics of starting a company, primarily for students here at the college. And so this has evolved to the point where German is looking to set up an entrepreneurship club that's going to be student-driven, and I'm going to be supporting him. And I'm looking for companies and advisors to help our students get smarter in terms of whatever entrepreneurship they want to pursue. And then finally, I just want to leave by saying that, you know, I have my college and faculty and students on one side, I have industry, community, and partners on the other, and I'm kind of in the middle between kind of giving everybody nice warm and fuzzy. So, thank you very much.